Ooh, look at that pocket. There it is. Ooh, hook.
Welcome back to JR Pro Shop Vids. Simoo here, and today we got the explosion. Super excited for this new explosion today because my brother Simoo will be throwing this ball out on the lanes against another Columbia 300 benchmark of his, the Cuda C Powercore. What we got out of this symmetric hybrid bowling ball is the Resurgence core and the Reflex hybrid cover stock. And this is going to be a big difference than what we got here in the Cuda C Powercore, which is a asymmetric solid. As you'll see out on the lanes, huge difference. This is a higher end ball and this one more of a mid-range. So hopefully they do complement each other very well, and this one is a new great addition to Simoo's bag. Today we are bowling on 40-foot Mercury. It's a 5-to-1 ratio, not too easy, not too difficult. It's right in the middle, so I think it's gonna be a really good pattern to show off this benchmark ball. In terms of what we expect out of this ball, it's gonna be a lot weaker than this Cuda. Being a symmetric hybrid bowling ball, it's gonna get later down the lane before it starts to hook, and it will also have a lot smoother shape off the back end. Opposed to this Cuda, that's gonna roll a lot earlier, dig more in the oil, and cover more boards in general. Punch out! That's what we hope to see out of Simoo today. But if you like this design and a bunch of these other designs that we have created, check out shop.jrproshop.com where you can get a hoodie, t-shirt of any of our brand new designs. It's gonna be free shipping in Canada and the US, and also the prices are in Canadian dollars, which is a great deal for all you Americans. Anyways, let's see Simoo throw this ball out on the lanes. Boom!
All right, Simoo's back on the lanes. Today we got the explosion from Columbia 300. Got a Sim hybrid here. I've thrown it probably 2 or 3 times during practice at league, but let's see what it does here. All right, so we're on 40-foot Mercury today, about 5-to-1. See what this ball does. Decent reaction there, didn't get the release that I necessarily loved, but you can tell it gets down lane pretty easy. It doesn't bite as hard or corner some other balls. Throw it a couple more times, see what it does. Got it a little bit more right there, try to get it to roll a little bit earlier. Still a little bit lazy, got to the pocket a little bit late, mixed them up. Still not a reaction I love, so let's keep inching it right, try to get it to go flush here. Better one there. Could tell pretty quickly that straighter is greater with this ball. I know they're mentioning it as a really good benchmark ball, and you could definitely see that. Very easy to ball up and even ball down from this. So now let's move on to the Cuda here. So the Cuda, if you might remember, is one of my favorite balls from 2022. Currently using it as my benchmark ball. Let's see how it reacts first to the explosion. Ooh, look at that pocket. Tell there that ball's definitely a couple steps up in terms of overall strength. Was able to move my feet a little bit deeper, even missed it a little bit right. Still really revved up in the mid lane really nicely. So let's jump a little bit right, see how it looks on the same line that I threw that explosion. So even with a bit of a miss there, a couple boards right, this ball is super forgiving, really reads the mid lane well, and it's definitely a look that suits my eye. So this ball at the beginning had a little bit of trouble picking up. Gonna try to move back and slow it down a touch. It's good there, but it's still, I don't know how to explain it. It's still a little bit lazy for my eye. I think I'm gonna jump back right, play down and in where I like to, see how it does there. So the explosion here has got a pretty low RG, relatively low diff, which really explains a lot of it rolling a little bit earlier, a little bit smoother. I don't know what I'm gonna say. I'm just gonna throw the ball. So that's a little bit better. I feel like I could play off of that line a little bit more than when I was deeper. Definitely a ball that I'd bring out when I really want to try to control the reaction, not jump off the spot, leave something crazy. But overall, I think I want to play around with a little bit, trying to change the surface. I think for me, I definitely want to see a little bit more motion at the end of the pattern. So I'm going to shine it up a little bit and let's see how it does. All right, while we wait for Adam to surface up my explosion, I got a question for you guys. Actually, it's a two-part question. First, do you ever play around with surfaces on your equipment? And second, if you do you do it yourself or do you get the pro shop to do it? For me, I'm spoiled. I always let the boys do it with the spinner, but let me know down in the comments below. All right, we're back. Shout out to Adam, helped us out on the spinner. Put a little bit of compound on the explosion here. Again, we're trying to see a little bit more motion down lane, so hopefully this does the trick. So definitely better, was able to play a lot deeper than I was. Probably about an 8 or so board difference with my feet. Again, slowing down the speed a little bit, but you could definitely see it's more of a motion that suits my eye, really getting down lane, turning that corner a little bit harder. Again, the ball's not just gonna hook because you put compound on it. Also gotta make sure that I give it time, so slow it down a touch, try to get it flush. So definitely gonna try to find the middle between those two. The first one, threw it a little quick, went a little light. The second one, went a little slow, went through the face. Try to find the middle ground, hopefully strike. Ooh, there it is. So with the compound, you can see how much easier the ball is getting down lane. It's not rolling at your feet or puking out, but you're definitely getting that motion towards the end of the pattern. I think another big advantage too is now with the compound, you get two very distinct motions with your other balls. So we got the Cuda, still that box. So you can see a really good 1-2 punch. When I throw that Cuda, it definitely can cover more boards, definitely drive through the pins really well. But a really good step down is that explosion with a little bit of compound, a little bit more shine to it. Let's throw one more good one here, send it back to the shop. Back to the shop.
All right guys, I'm back from the lanes after throwing the brand new explosion here, or somewhat brand new, from Columbia 300. My original thoughts, Jacob talked about how there's going to be a pretty big difference in terms of overall hook, and boy did we see that. Comparing it to the rest of my arsenal as a lower rev bowler, I definitely like to have stronger pieces in my bag, like the Cuda here. Having balls that are a little bit stronger and really corner hard really help my eye and give me a lot more confidence that even if I miss it a little bit right, it's still gonna get back to the pocket. So my first couple shots out of box with the explosion here, I felt a lot of the same sentiments as Jung with his TNT. If you haven't seen that video, make sure to check it out here. Out of box, I think the cover is just a little bit too strong for my game. I found that it would roll really early, almost at my feet, and then it would kind of die and wiggle towards the pins. I wouldn't really be able to see the ball rev up like I do with the rest of my arsenal. As you saw in the video, definitely not a ball that you want to start in the oil with, especially if you're a lower rev bowler. Definitely straighter is greater, and I can see myself using it if I'm really trying to control the pocket. Then when we moved on to the Cuda, as you guys know, one of my favorite balls right now, one of my favorite balls from last year. I just feel really confident in my hand. The motion really suits my eye. I like how early and how strong it is, but I really feel that it continues really well through the pins. So I think one of my main takeaways for you guys in this video is if you're not completely satisfied with it right out of the box, if you're not ready to shoot 300 with it, that's totally okay. Don't throw it out. Don't try to trade it back into the shop, but instead try to play around with the surface. For me, that meant going to compound, try to get the ball a little bit later and get more of a defined shape down lane. And in doing so, I think I really found where these two balls can complement each other. Again, being a lower rev bowler, a lot of my stuff's gonna be towards the higher end, definitely a little bit stronger, but I really like having this ball as an option for me, especially if I'm bowling in lighter conditions or in a house that hooks a little bit more. So even for me, when the lanes are burnt up and all my big balls are hooking way too much, it's really nice to have something on the lower end where I can trust it'll get down easy, make the corner, and I can really control my angles. So just to wrap things up here, as you guys know, with me and my style, a lot of the balls I like hook a lot. But that being said, I do bowl in other centers, and when I'm bowling tournaments and different leagues, I know that there's going to be conditions where that's not always optimal. But when I'm facing those conditions, it's really good to have a lower end, kind of middle of the pack ball
this lower end symmetric hybrid is really going to do the trick for me. And I know that it plays off really well from one of my favorite balls, so that's always a bonus as well. I might not bring it out with me every single week at league, but that's okay. It's always nice to have that in my back pocket, especially if I'm going to somewhere new for the first time. We know that Columbia 300 went with a very proven core and a very proven cover stock, but these are things that you've liked in the past. You know what you're gonna get out of this, especially at the price point. With that being said, in terms of them calling it the quintessential benchmark ball, maybe not for all bowlers. For me, I'm gonna stick to different balls, especially when it comes to my first ball out of my bag. But if you're someone with more revs, maybe even a two-hander, definitely worth checking this out. For me, it's gonna fit in the lower end of my bag, and that's okay. It doesn't always need to be flashy, but sometimes you need a ball that's just gonna get down the lane and get the job done. So that's it for me. Let me know down in the comments again whether or not you play with the surface on your bowling balls, and if you do, if you actually do it, or if you get your Pro Shop operator to do it. Check out the new merch, shop.jrproshop.com. If you like Friends, you're gonna love this. We have it in a hoodie and a t-shirt. Let me know who your favorite Friends character is as well. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.